Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Slush Camp. Almy here, and as you can see behind me, or rather this way, I have my .hex sign poster up. Yay! So pretty much this week has consisted of Sunday hanging out with Steve, which, hi Steve, and we watched several different just random animes. He got me into Danganronpa, and we watched Blood Lad, which I finished today, which was kind of weird in an emo vampire way. It's one of those animes where I'm glad I watched it, but at the same time I'm just like, why did I watch this? It kind of had like a fairy tale-esque feel to it like the entire time. And then we had bacon wrapped chicken, which was so good. And then, what was that? That was Sunday. I worked the weekend. Monday I didn't do anything except for like sit at my house. I did, however, draw a little bit, which was pretty interesting. Because, like, I've been feeling, like, pretty artistic, and I've had a couple of requests of drawing things for people, and I was like, oh, well, I haven't really drawn anything in a while, and I didn't want to be like, yes, I'm going to draw you this, and then find out, like, my skills have, like, deteriorated, because, like, it's just like anything else. If you don't use it, you become out of practice, and so on and so forth. So I was just like, why don't I, like, draw something and try and, like, pick up my skills again? So I drew two things, and the first thing I drew, I like going and looking on the internet and being like, okay, so not the whole picture, but, like, I like features of this picture. And I'll take and, like, redraw these different features so that I can put them and be like, okay, so I liked how this person did their eyes, or I liked how this person did, like, a certain way that the hand moved, and stuff like that. Like, I don't take the whole artwork, I just take bits and pieces and, like, recreate and redraw them. That way, it's all muscle memory. And then I can look at it and be like, oh, well, I drew that once, so I can obviously draw it again. Which sometimes isn't so much the case with me, which is very unfortunate. I draw, like, one good thing, and then it's, like, the rest, every single time I try and repeat that same process, or duplicate that same process, it's just, like, everything else after that is just, like... But I did find a pair of eyes that I liked, and then I redrew them. It's my phone going off. There we go. So, these eyes, right there, eyes. It's so weird to, like, have the camera on, like, back. And then the second thing I drew, which was little Biohazard Cutie. Biohazard Cutie. He's so cute. His little gas mask on. But those eyes, like, I really, really enjoyed, like, the finished product of them. Now I'll put you back on my wall. Go back on my wall. There we go. So, it was definitely, like, at first I was like, man, this is just gonna be thrown away, like, I'm just gonna get rid of this, and then it, like, finished product, I was like, man, this is really, really awesome. But, like, I got really creative, like, wanting to be really creative, and I then sat down with, like, a blank sheet of paper, like, a good sheet of paper, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna start, like, sketching a few things out, and, like, making up, like, a draft of, like, what I want to draw, and then it was just, like, gone. And then I sat, like, the entire day watching anime, and I was like, oh, seriously, why must it do this? Why? And so I was just like, I still sat with, like, my Post-it notes and pen in case, like, I did feel like drawing, then I could actually, like, sit there and doodle and sketch a little bit. As you can see, the Post-it note's quite empty. So, sad face. But yeah, podcast today was actually really interesting. We went out over an hour beyond when we were supposed to stop, and sadly I don't think it's gonna upload all together. And I'm like, no, because like I import it from Twitch, and I'm like, oh dear God, this file might be a little too big, or it just got lost somewhere and it hooked up to a different account. I don't know. I'll have to like sit down and figure it out and be like, why is this not uploading? If not, it's gonna be like 15-minute segments of like bits and pieces everywhere, and I'm like, I can't. If that's the case, I'm just gonna be like, here's a link to it on my Twitch. So, enjoy, guys. But, yeah, it was definitely a fun session. We started, like, our news segments, which were really cool. A lot of interesting things, and each week, hopefully, we'll come up and be like, here's what's going on in the world of this, here's what's going on in the world of that. And it was really interesting, because we didn't know, like, quite what topic to give Jeremy, and then we just, like, he fell into the science category, and he started talking about nanotechnology and all this kind of stuff, so it was definitely fun and interesting. And then, oh my god, so, throughout the entire episode of the podcast, you can see me drinking wine. Like, I was straight up, I hate doing that, like, on air, and, like, having things, and when I was, like, drinking and stuff like that, I'd always put it in a glass, and then that way people would be like, oh, what you drinking? And be like, oh, it's just soda or juice or something. But I obviously had the bottle in my hand, because literally, I want to say 5 minutes before we started rolling, for a full half hour, I was fighting with my computer so badly. So I have 2, like, speaker ports on my computer. The back port, however, does not, like, quite register, which is really weird. Don't understand why, but it's, like, null and void. So I can't use that for the speakers. So if I'm going to use my headset or my speakers, I have to unplug on the top of the tower where, like, the headphone jack would be. So I'm like, okay, well, it's coming out my speakers, and that's going to be a little difficult for podcasts, because if it's coming out my speakers, then you're obviously going to hear it filtering through my mic, and you're just going to get this awful echo, so I have to have my headset. And that's a note for any person who's going to be streaming or working with someone else: do not have an open mic and speakers on. Then you just get this horrible echo. So I'm like, well, I'm going to have to, like, set up my headset, and I was like, okay, so plugged in my headset. I don't need the microphone, so I didn't, like, plug in the microphone, but I did plug in just the headset part. And I was fighting with it, because it would register that there was sound. Like, my computer was showing, like, the bars going up and down anytime someone talked, or I was on YouTube just trying to calibrate it, and I was just like, okay, my system says there is sound, so there's nothing wrong with my sound card, there's nothing wrong with my video card, what is going on? So I literally spent, like, a half hour futzing with, like, all the, like, special properties and, like, the meters and everything like this, and, like, trying to calibrate it, and finally it turned into a situation where I just had to keep, like, unplugging it and plugging it back in, unplugging it and plugging it back in, which made me wonder if there's, like, a short in that port. And I'm like, I hope not, because that's, like, my only sound, and I'm like, I don't want to have a tower and I have no sound. So it literally, I was sitting there, and I literally was just so frustrated. I was, like, going to start crying, because I was just like, why is this happening to me? Why now? And it was nothing wrong with the headset at all. Like, at all, because I plugged it in to my phone, and it worked, and then plugged it in with, my, like, MP3 player, and it worked, and I was like, it's just the computer. So, yeah, it got solved, so thankfully it got solved, and I was able to do the podcast today. But yeah, that was definitely frustrating, because I was just, like, so upset, and then I was like, Alex, host the show, and Alex was like, and I told him nothing of it, like, beforehand, like, nothing of it. So he's like on the spot, like trying to figure out how to like do my intro, and I'm like, oh, this is so great. It was definitely what I needed. I needed booze, and I needed just to like sit back and relax for like 10 minutes. And then halfway through the show, I like picked up as like host again, and I was like, yes. But yeah. Today on my agenda, find something to eat, because all I have is a bag of chicken nuggets still in the freezer, and I've been like munching on them, and I'm like, oh, I don't really want chicken nuggets again. But I'll probably like order pizza or something interesting, something different. I need something different. I was craving sushi so bad, but there's like no place around me that like serves good sushi, so I was like, never mind. But yeah, so find food. It's gonna be like my top priority. And then I still have a lot of things I need to clean up and like put around and put in their appropriate places. And I do not need to own any more t-shirts, because all of this right here, I want to say there's probably at least like 25, maybe, no, yeah, maybe 20, 30 shirts that are sitting there, like, in this pile. And most of them are T-Fury shirts. I'm like, oh, I have so many T-Fury shirts. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I have so many. And then I'm like, I keep buying clothes. Like, I went to Florida and I came back. Well, I went to Florida with 1 suitcase, then I came back with 2. And I'm like, oh dear God, I bought more clothes. No. But yeah, I hit the point where I'm just like, I don't need more clothes. I need to get rid of clothes. I really need to get rid of some of my clothes. A lot of people are like, Goodwill. And actually, I do a lot of Goodwill shopping. And I'm like, I would love to do Goodwill, but there's a lot of things that I've not worn that much that are still very nice looking. Like, I'm not gonna buy something that's like a ripped up t-shirt. So I mean, I keep my clothes like very nicely kept, and so there's a lot of stuff that like it does have sentimental value, like my gaming shirts and stuff like that, but there's also just like random clothes that I'm just like, I don't really want to just give this to Goodwill. Like, I would like to find someone who would be like, here, you want this? At least I know it goes to a good home. And, well, not saying that Goodwill wouldn't give it a good home or anything, but like, there's a lot of clothes that I've had since, like, high school. And I'm like, so, I don't know. I have to go through that, because I still have one of my suitcases that I still haven't unpacked, which is the one sitting, I don't think you can see it, but it's, like, down here. But, yeah, it's my last suitcase that I still had from Florida. And it still has a lot of, like, the clothes that I bought. Far too much. I think that's what my agenda will be. After finding food, we'll be making a what do I want to keep, what do I want to like give up clothes pile. And be like, if anyone wants these, feel free. But yeah, I'm gonna head off of here. Like I said, I'll probably go get Pizza Hut. Go get pizza. Pizza. And a lot of you I know have been asking like about my streaming, because I haven't really done much in the way of streaming lately. I don't really have like the schedule for it, even though I say like, oh, I'm just watching anime or I'm just doing this. Like, I haven't really, I need to like check my forehead and see if I'm sick. I haven't really played like any games recently. Was playing like ESO for a long while and was getting like really addicted to that. And then for some reason, like since I came back from vacation, I just don't have the motivation to play like any games whatsoever. So I need to figure out something, because I'm like, I like wanted to get into like an MMO again. I got a pop-up. Speaking of ESO, hi Scorn. I got a pop-up. But I was just like, I don't know. It's super difficult because I'm like, I want to get into an MMO that I can just play regularly and then put down. And, like, I can do that with ESO, but, like, I was just, like, a lot of things of ESO is just, like, eh. And, like, it's become so grindy, like, because I hit veteran. I'm like, I actually, for a while there, I was, like, thinking of canceling my subscription and then being like, well, when I want to play again, I'll just pick up my subscription again. So, that's honestly something I might do. Sad face. But yeah, let's get off of a depressing topic and let's go eat, because I'm hungry. So, I shall see you guys later. Bye-bye!